Welcome to episode 262 of Real Therapy, the place where we talk about how movies make us feel. I'm your host, Donovan Thompson, with my co-host,
Daniel Wingfield.
and today we're discussing not movies, not television. We are discussing our third ancillary topic, video games. This is Real Therapy, and you know what that means.
They're gonna talk about how it makes them feel. They're gonna watch all the movie reels, cause it's Dan and Don in Real Therapy. It's real.
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, man. I'm doing okay. The weather's changed. The heat is on, at least around here for the first time this year. My body's mostly done freaking out about the weather change. So I'm starting to enjoy the sweater weather, as it were. How about you?
Yeah, I woke up this morning and the heat was on for the first time. So Kimley had made an executive decision that it was time for the heat. And so I'm kind of there with you. And I agree. My body has finally kind of gotten over the change. I was sick there last week, and I think I've acclimated enough.
Yeah, but you didn't even sound sick last week, which you would know if you already listened to last week's episode, dear listener or viewer. It was a great episode about Dexter. My first viewing. I'm already a few more episodes, but basically the first 3.5 seasons of the TV show Dexter. I'm a complete newbie, and we talked about it, and we had a really great discussion. I think there's a lot to dig into about what Dexter does right, some of its quirks and all that. And you would have already listened to that if you were subscribed to our feeds. So if this is your first time checking our stuff, please go check out our other stuff, subscribe to our channels. And if you are a casual listener, but you haven't subscribed yet, I know it takes 20 seconds, but it really does make a huge difference for us. So we would ask you please to subscribe and like. You're allowed to smash those buttons too. If you'd like to smash the like button, we will allow that.
We always approve smashing.
Indeed.
So, yeah, I was going to ask you, I can ask you at the end of the pod, but just so I know real quick, did you finish season 4 yet of Dexter or no?
No. We're
Okay.
7 or 8 episodes in of
So you're
12.
getting close.
So
you're
yeah.
getting close.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're getting into I think we're in kind of, for me, it's we're kind of getting to the end game of I can kind of see where we're going. I think at the end of it, but
I'm going to do a Dexter check-in every episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially once we get past season 4, because I know there's just the opinions divide quickly past season 4. And so, yeah.
Do they divide quickly?
I see a lot of people that say it's not worth it. Then I see people that say season 5 is amazing, and then I see people that say season 7 is great. There is a big portion that just say it really drops off, and there's a bunch of people I still thought it was great. You know what I mean? So it's kind of I'm okay, I'm not sure. My expectations are for it probably not to get better than it has been, and so I feel like I'm pretty safe. I'm not gonna get disappointed. I think necessarily, but we'll see. I'm interested. I'm interested to get to those, but I'm really interested to get to what's after for sure.
Well, I can confirm that those season 5 is great comments are Showtime bots. I can confirm that. Anyway, we'll get into the topic of the show, which is video games, and it's I would say it's more tailored to. Our thumbnail is the end of the console wars, but it's kind of more about the industry and just kind of things on the horizon and things like that. And I kind of wanted to start this off with a little preface of, we had the Halo Championship last weekend. We had the announcement of Halo Campaign Evolved, not only for Xbox, but for PC, Steam, whatever, and of course, PS5. And then a few days before that, we had the announcement, or a week before that Game Pass is going to $30 a month for the premium tier. I'm sure there's other lower tiers that's cheaper. But I kind of want to just kind of pose this question for you, just kind of starting off. Are we at the end of the console wars? Are they done? And and kind of tie that into Xbox has kind of come out and said we are doing another console. The impression is that it's going to be very premium. Like the ROG Ally X is $1,000 for a handheld. And what does that look like for the console? So like, is it over or is it? I mean, I have thoughts, but what's your opinion on all this kind of so far?
I think in the way that we used to think of the console wars, absolutely, absolutely, it's over. I mean, Xbox has decided to stop playing the game, and it makes sense because I think even if you look at comments from people at PlayStation and Xbox, what they tell you nowadays, hey, we're not competing with other games, we're competing with YouTube, we're competing with Netflix, we're competing for entertainment
With
time.
eyeballs.
Yes, exactly. And,
Okay.
and like that, so like I feel like even Sony, I think, is seeing that as like it's no longer about selling more than Xbox. It's about getting people to buy the console and then play it, rather than scroll on YouTube and watch someone else play it. Or like, you know what I mean? Like there's just the way people interact with games is so different than it used to be.
Yeah.
And,
So
and I
wait,
think
you're telling me real quick that based on what you know that people are watching people play games more than they're playing games?
I don't have any. I'm not quoting any kind of statistics. I'm just
Okay,
saying
okay.
that didn't exist 20 years ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
You're right.
and,
Yeah, of
and I
course.
think I think for me, there are times where I'm like, I might play that game, but I don't know if I want to. I'll watch somebody play it, and then I just am watching, and I don't play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's anecdotal evidence, but I mean, we know that there's more stuff for kids to do with screens today than there was when we were kids, which was like video games or a TV show or a movie. Now there's mobile games. You know what I mean? I mean, Xbox and PlayStation are competing with iPhones now. You know what I mean? Like the biggest games of the last few years are all playable on mobile too. So why do you need a console? Like that's the kind of things that are coming into these guys' minds. And it does make sense.
But also, don't you think that the base is bigger now than it's ever been in terms of, we grew up with, the N64, the PS1, PS2, GameCube, all that stuff. And now our kids are growing up with the Switch 1, the Switch 2, the PS4, 5.
Yeah,
It's
but my
like
kid plays his iPad more than anything else. The amount of times I've tried to get him to try an Xbox game, he's like, "No, I'm good on my iPad." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I got
know?
a little sample size there. I mean, and it's not really because River wouldn't rather play a Mario game, but to me, he's too young. But when he has the option to play the Xbox, like Minecraft on the Xbox or whatever, he always chooses that over his iPad.
Sure, but Reese can play. He can play his favorite games on his iPad. He can play Minecraft, and because he's grown up using it,
through like the Apple ecosystem is what you're saying,
they
or
have that. You can just play. You can download Minecraft on a phone or tablet and play
sure,
a full game.
sure.
It's exactly the same as it is on Xbox. You can play with people on Xbox from your iPad, which is what he does with his other friends. And part of it is because he is so lightning fast with that touch interface. Like he looks like he looks like he's
know.
on Star Trek, where he's
I've
like,
seen it.
you know
River
what I
is
mean?
it's
You're
crazy
just
how
like,
fast River does it. And he's 4 years
builds
old.
things so quick in Minecraft, and it's just like it's like, yeah, I bet you couldn't do that fast with a controller. Honestly, like, you know what I mean? Like it would be so much harder to point and click instead of just, I'm going to build blocks as I point my finger on the screen, they become blocks. You know what I mean? Like it's so like, I think,
yeah, I guess I'm just thinking, but I'm just thinking
generation.
numbers.
I mean, Among Us is the biggest game and Fortnite. Those are all playable on mobile. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a console. And I think,
I guess I'm just saying, like, the argument I'm trying to make, this little argument here, is that people are still buying consoles. I mean, PS5, the Switch 2, Xbox, like there's a lot of consoles out there sold. Like, I mean, it's not like that's dead and the phones are taking over. They may have equaled it, but it's not like I don't think the consoles have decreased at all from generation to generation.
No, but I think actually with the data that I'm recalling is that it hasn't grown in the last few years.
Okay.
That gaming
I don't know that. Okay.
has not grown. Like there was obviously the COVID bump where everyone bought a Switch. Everyone was playing Animal Crossing. And then after the bump, obviously everything has been shrinking back. Gaming, especially the amount of layoffs we've heard about in the last few years from everybody. And so I think it's the thing is it's not growing at the rate it was. Yes, more people than ever play games, but also the world is larger than it's ever been. So it's like it's kind of like you know what I mean? Like you have to compare
Not that
it to
large, but yeah.
But it's still, you're right. But like I think it's a thing of like it is heading that way. Like even my mom plays games through my Xbox account, my Game Pass account on her LG TV with an Xbox controller. She plays these little like puzzly like 3D platformer like little, I'm trying to think of what those little games are like Unravel and Unravel 2, like these, you know, like kind of like Astro Body type stuff, but even smaller scale. And those work perfect streaming over online. You know what I mean? I just think when we say there's more people than gaming ever, yes, but there's more diversity of gaming than ever. There's more diversity of gamers than ever. 20 years ago, if you were a gamer, that means you had an Xbox, a PlayStation, or a really good PC or a Nintendo. Today, if you're a gamer, that might mean you have a phone. That's it. You know what I mean? Or that might mean you play Xbox on your LG TV. You know what I mean? And so I just think because it's becoming so much
VR.
Or through Netflix. Netflix has, you can play like Stardew Valley on the Netflix app. You know what I mean? So it's just like it is becoming a different world where hardware is not there. Hardware used to be the price of entry, right? You had to have hardware to be a gamer. Nowadays, you just have to have a phone or a TV that you probably already is smart, or buy a $30 controller adapter for your phone, or just buy an Xbox controller. You know, like it's just because of that. And I think that is even why it makes sense that you see Nintendo and Xbox being like, okay, fine. You know, we used to try to make hardware that was affordable so everyone could get in, everyone could come play. We want the price to be available so that as many people can afford the ticket to come be in our ecosystem. But since more people have more options that are also cheaper than our option now, why not raise our hardware to become a premium thing that only the you know, top percent wealthy of our player base could even afford anyway. It's like the people that are going to get the $1,500 Xbox or whatever it is are the people that buy the PlayStation 6 Pro, or you know what I mean? It's just like it's that group. We know they're going to get there, but why do we keep trying to build a box for everyone when everyone doesn't need this box anymore to be in the team? You know what I mean?
Do you think
I see the logic of it.
You think that will kill the industry and stuff, like the console industry in some way? In terms, I'm more worried about Nintendo than Xbox there.
Nintendo seems to just do whatever it wants.
There's no. It seems about it. They always have. Nintendo does what Nintendo wants to do. But I just
right now
it's
working. I mean, if you look at their history, almost every other generation they kind of dropped the ball. Like they went. The Switch 2 feels like one of the first successful pass offs to a new generation they've had ever.
Well, because it's a 2. I mean,
the Wii U should have been this easy, right? The Wii was one of the most successful things ever, just like the Switch was.
If you had called the Wii U the Wii 2, it would have probably done better. Yes. It would have. But even you look at done amazingly better. Yeah.
The Nintendo. I mean, like the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube both underperformed. I love those. It was always kind of those underperformed. I feel like all my friends had the GameCube and stuff like that, right?
It had competition for sure.
It did, and it was during the era where PlayStation 2 just became one of the most successful things that's ever existed in gaming.
Yeah, PS2 is pretty ballin'.
Yeah, and so it's
but that's kind of a good example there too, where PS3 come out. And me being a Sony diehard, I'll never play Halo. I'll never play those games. I'll never play Half-Life 2. Yeah. It was, your console is, what, $600?
Right.
I guess I'll get an Xbox 360 and try this thing out called Gears of War.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. And so, like, you know, I think it's in some way, nostalgically, it's sad, right? Because there's elements of the zeitgeist and the culture of gaming that are kind of disappearing with this transition, right? But I can't say that I wasn't already kind of like, I mean, we've talked privately. I'm like, I've already said that, like, maybe the next console I buy is a Steam Deck. Like, you know, I don't even know if I would buy another Xbox.
Well, here's the kind of the next question to kind of tee that up is, I've been saying for a long time now, there's receipts. Everyone can go check. Xbox's ultimate goal here is to get Game Pass on PlayStation, Nintendo on this TV that your mom can access, right? All she has to do is buy a controller and then she can kind of go. As technology gets better and better, we can do these cloud streaming things from any type of device, like a Fire Stick or
Right.
whatever it is, right? And so the rumor is that Xbox is doing a premium device. It's something probably just similar to a PC,
Right.
where it can play Steam, it can play
Which would
Xbox Game
mean
Pass,
it can play
and
Sony games through Steam.
it can play PlayStation games on the back end, right? You're not going to get that day one, and it'll
Sure,
be on
yeah.
it'll be
Whenever they come
it'll
out for Steam, you get it, right? Yeah.
yeah, and to be fair, that could also I think this might have. I'm not sure Sony thought this far ahead about it, but I do think there could be a conversation where they're like, "Hey, we see what they're doing now. We're not going to allow Uncharted 6, 7, God of War 5, 6, play Spider-Man 3, 5 on Steam or on PC
Yeah, but then you
because
got to go to the investors and say, yeah, that 4, 7, 8, $10 million we would have gotten 2 years after the game came out. You're not
yeah,
getting
I
that
mean,
anymore. I just think it makes
there's a
too much
there's a push
economic sense to
well, there's a
not
push and
do it.
pull there of if we hold off from doing that, then maybe we can make our brand stronger. We can have more consoles bought. We can make more money the long term versus the short. You know what I'm saying? There's those kind of conversations. So I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable enough to say that is
I
more
just,
beneficial than the other. Because also, here's the thing is that I could see, this is becoming the streaming wars. This is what this is becoming,
yeah. It's the
right?
eyeball wars, right? Like you said.
Well, Game Pass is it's going to be it's Netflix for gaming, right?
Yeah.
And so PlayStation has tried their thing, Nintendo's doing their Switch Online, all successful, but there's a time and place where, like you're saying, those shareholder meetings become, do we allow our games on Game Pass
Right.
and we get a chunk of it? And then what's the even point of having a PlayStation? You know what I'm saying? Like, but a console. So that's the long-term 20 years from now conversation, I'm wondering. Anyway,
Yeah, I agree.
don't know.
I just think well, I mean, recent economic trends say that most companies aren't looking 20 years ahead. Honestly,
Sure.
right? They want
Layoffs, all
money
these other
now,
kind of things.
profit now, more now, and I think to me, the way Sony has even been going with, I mean, it was a big deal that they were even putting their games on PlayStation. Like that was like something they said they'd never do for so long, and then all of a sudden the games are on PC. You know what I mean? And it was like a huge deal that happened. And then now everyone expects it and everyone's fine with it. You know, if there was uproar, like, why'd I buy this PlayStation if I could just play it on my PC? You know what I mean? Like, and this is devaluing the product I bought and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it made Sony more money and they did it and everyone forgot and didn't care at the end of the day. Right. And so I feel like that's probably what they're seeing is like, okay, do we want to build a stronger brand that might pay off in 5 to 10 years or something? Or do we want millions of more dollars today? That is just, and even if you argue like, yeah, okay, if Xbox players have it, I feel like too, it's like, okay, if this is a premium device, the sales are going to be so much lower, right? So what are we even talking about as like the Xbox audience next generation? Like, what does that even mean? Like,
Well,
the people that can already
think
afford a
it's
high-powered PC. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it feels like.
well,
What is
it
that
seems like the
audience
first
even-
transition to we're going PC, right? We're just going to like
Yeah.
it, and I say PC is in like the same way they went with the handheld. We're going handheld, but it's really like, oh, you're really going ROG Ally X, and you're making the Xbox brand on it. Obviously, there's things that so it feels like they're going to outsource the the peripheral stuff, and their real concern here is Game Pass, as it should be. I mean, if you look at the sales, I think we're up to like 40 something million subscribers of Game Pass.
Yeah,
You do that even if you do $20 a month. I mean, what is that?
a lot of money.
$800 million a month from Game Pass. Obviously, you're paying other companies for licensing the game on there for X amount of time, but there's no version where it's not making money, I wouldn't think.
Right.
And so anyway, and the goal here again is to get Game Pass as an app on PlayStation, on whatever.
Yeah.
And here's my concern, kind of a third question is, you've been on the side, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, where you're happy that we're getting more access to games, right? You're happy some of these things
In terms
are
of
breaking down console barriers, right? You're happy that we're getting Spider-Man on Game Pass potentially. You're happy
Really?
because you
Is
had
that a
more.
rumor?
No, but I'm saying, well, I mean, if it's, I mean,
That would
not
make me
Game
very
Pass.
happy.
No, but I'm saying like that was
Yeah.
I misspoke. But I mean, you might get a Spider-Man on the next Xbox because of the Steam thing, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So whereas I've been like, or at least you didn't like that exclusives were exclusives, and I was
Yeah.
kind of always like, no, it needs to be exclusive because it builds competition. And so it kind of clicked for me the last week or so because I really think the gaming situation is really parallel to the streaming stuff. I'm afraid Game Pass will become the Netflix and streamers, where yes, we get a Stranger Things every now and then, but games become more about content versus quality. Where
I mean, that's
Netflix
already
is
happened though. I mean, look at Steam. Like, there's like something like 25,000 games per day come out on
okay.
Steam.
Well, okay, if even if it's okay, it is. Let's say it is happening.
I mean, look at
it's bad.
Nintendo. How much
I think it's
shovelware
bad
comes
for
on there?
gaming. I mean, I think it's bad for quality games. I'm tired of
I don't know
companies.
how that hurts. I don't know how slop makes the quality games worse though. There's always been slop. There's always will. I mean, look in the '80s. There was slop on the Atari. There was slop on the NES. There was slop every time.
There was not this much slop, and also the quality games. It's almost universal that it feels like it's a flip of the coin where, oh, the game is going to be good 6 months from now, or what, or it took 6 months to make this game because of what, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know.
What does that have to do with slop games?
Because the idea is let's not care about these AAA games. Let's make as much as possible, like Netflix. We don't care if we have good scripts. We don't care if we have good movies. We don't care if we have good TV shows. Let's make 10 a day, and then we'll put them out there. Like, how many Netflix movies can you say, oh, they have a great Netflix movie? Like,
Sure,
I mean,
but what we're also talking about, like Netflix, is if that's one person being a creative. Like Netflix, David Fincher's Netflix. Most of the stuff he does is pretty good, right?
but that's 1% out of
okay,
how much.
But I don't really care. For one, I don't need 10 shows a day to watch. I need one really good one a week or something. You know what I mean? It's like not. I guess to me, it's just like we're still getting Oppenheimer.
You haven't had a David Fincher show in 4 years.
Here's what I think.
You had Mank 2 years ago. You had Mindhunter 4 or 5 years ago.
Just like what's happened with streaming with this, what's going to happen is the middle's going to go away more. You're still going to get Oppenheimer. You're still going to get the top of the dollar, top of the line, auteurs doing their shit. Cory Barlog, God of War game,
Netflix,
Red Dead, another GTA. Like you're gonna get a new Cyberpunk. You're gonna get a new Witcher, and they're going to be at the quality or exceeding what came before because that's the kind of people that are at those studios, and that's what they want to do.
Well,
they're
to be fair,
creatives.
Cyberpunk took 3 years before we got a good game. Yeah, that's a bad example then. That's my point, is that we're getting slop in the beginning. But
that's not because of slop. That was because of internal mismanagement based on, you can look into why that happened. There's very well documented that was like upper management made mistakes and then doubled down. And that has nothing to do with the fact that there's slop.
It has everything. No, but that's not my point. It's just slop. My point is that the quality of the making of the game has decreased. They put that game out because they wanted bonuses, right? Because they don't care so much about the quality of it.
Executives, sure, yeah. Well,
whatever.
I mean,
that was a big part. That was a big part of it.
There was that they didn't care about the quality of it. They got so far up their own ass, they thought it was better than they thought. Like they were just like, we just did the fucking Witcher 3, and
there's no universe.
Look into the
there's no universe.
Think about how executives work.
PlayStation pull the executives, but because the executives are worried about content, dollars, they're worried about getting a product out there versus making it good. The executives might have said that. The shareholders, I don't think the shareholders even knew, but I'm saying, and again, that obviously this is one case. My point is, instead of, hey, let's take the time we need to.
That's not. I guess I don't see the connection between that because again, we were getting slop before that and slop after. I mean, we've been getting slop for decades, large amounts of it. And so I guess to me, it's just like what.
But you're saying slop like the amount of slop in the 80s is the same as today.
The amount of slop maybe in the aughts is probably close, not exactly, but just because
there's no universe if what by your metric you said how many games are being made on Steam. There's no universe. It's the same in 2000 as it is 2025.
I'm talking about percentage.
I know there's no universe where it's.
You're probably right. Just proportionally,
but also like by your logic,
games just no one ever plays. They disappear into the ether. And it's like they never came out. So why do they even matter?
It matters because my fear is that Game Pass is going to go towards content versus quality. We saw that with.
But Game Pass isn't a game developer. You're like that. That's the difference between this and Netflix.
But Game Pass is largely Xbox owned IP.
Right.
Right.
So I guess what is the fear that Xbox won't put out good games? They haven't been really good at that anyway since before Game Pass.
That's not a good argument. No, they don't put out good games. So why is the fear that they don't put out good games? That's like not a good argument for it.
No, I'm just saying is like, where's the trend? Where's the trend of as this is happening, we're going to get worse content? I would say even look at streaming. We have better content on TV than we've ever had at massive amounts. The amount of good shows and good writing and good acting on TV is at an all-time high, and it's not slowing down.
I would argue that the best TV is not from Netflix because they're worried about content. The best TV, in my opinion, is from HBO and Apple.
So why are you worried? Are you worried that HBO and Apple are going to go away because Netflix is too powerful with their slop? Most people.
No, there is interesting things also happening with Paramount buying Xbox and Paramount absorbing HBO Max into the Paramount Plus app, which would be a stupid decision in my opinion. They should call it HBO Max versus Paramount Plus. HBO has a premium name. It's a different conversation. But I'm saying there is, and the parable here would be PlayStation is still like the equivalent of like HBO Max or something, right? Where
it's about independent developers. CDPR is independent. Rockstar is independent. I mean, like, who's going to make them go away? They sell their games to everybody.
Well, they're independent right now. I mean, I'm saying, they're independent right now. That's not my point. I mean, it's not like again, today, who would have thought 50 years ago, Paramount's going to buy HBO, and that's never crossed my mind in a million years.
Game Pass will become so powerful that it buys everything and just decreases the quality of everything because it wants to get content out.
I see it's a definite possibility.
I just, at the end of the day, I think
Nintendo would be the last holdout, I think. But I think because what you're saying, where it's like there's other like mobile games, there's Apple doing their thing with Fortnite and their ecosystem and all these kind of, I can see a future where PlayStation is like they beat us in terms of the Game Pass thing is on everything. The game, like, and then also it's like people don't want to spend $600 for our console. They just want the games. Well, how do you get the games to people? Well, through some type of service or or Steam or something like that, which Xbox, they own. They basically have the market probably on PCs. I would say they don't own Steam or anything,
right? But
they own the thing that Steam. There's Steam boxes, of course, Steam decks, but largely I would say probably a lot of people play Steam through a PC. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm talking about. I can see the machinations now of we're getting to a place where it's they're Netflix, where it becomes content, and you have the outliers like Nintendo is trying to make quality stuff and just make you buy in their ecosystem. Again, it's weird because we're trying to compare. I'm trying to compare movies and gaming, and the movie thing is like Paramount Plus is actually a subscription service, versus I would say Nintendo like is Paramount Studios, and their subscription service is Nintendo Online. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like it's a little different here. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying this is, I think, a real possibility where it becomes about, like you're saying, eyeballs versus quality control,
Well, I think at the end of the day, quality will get the most eyeballs. And I think that to me is, I guess, as an artist, maybe that's just
I
my
don't know.
personal point of view. But I guess
That's
to me,
my
it's
hope.
like,
But
you're
Netflix
right.
has
If
the
that
most
does,
eyeballs and it
if
has the
that,
least quality.
what, I mean,
Netflix has the
look,
the biggest subscription.
sure.
And it has the most subscribers. And but how much content they put out to the quality that they give out, it's the least. I mean, like look at Apple, where how many subscribers they have versus how good their shows are on average, or HBO, how good their shows are on average. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference I'm talking about.
I guess, yeah, but it's until Netflix becomes so big that Apple TV and HBO can't survive. I guess that to me is like, okay, you're right. We might have this company that prioritize business over art. What that usually does,
Which always happens,
drives
right?
the artist away. It drives the creators away, and the creators find new avenues to create, and then people get drawn to that. Like that's literally what happened. Like that's the story of YouTube, right? In some ways, that like people found a voice in a creative outlet that wasn't monetized yet, and then all the monetization followed it because of how much cool creative art was being done in this just open public space, right? And so to me, it's like, unfortunately, that's the tale of all its time as capitalism. Something new is created, something artistic, something interesting, and it captures everyone's attention until it captures the economics attention, and then it must be nickeled and dimed until there's no value left. Like that to me is like, yeah, of course that's going to eventually happen with everything. But to me, it's like, well, YouTube happened because of some ways that was happening with movies and TV. You know, movies and TV were getting stale, so people started finding new forms of entertainment that was kind of like that, but also it's a whole new thing. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like, even with games, it's like, it's hard for me to imagine a future where Xbox can buy everything or be in such a market power that people are just have to put stuff out on Game Pass in order to compete, I guess. Maybe in like 30, I mean, it's just hard for me to imagine that, like, to me, because like I said, again, because gaming is so diverse, you can game on so many different devices. With movies and TV, you have a phone or a TV or a computer. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's more limited to, like, you view TV on a very limited amount of devices, and everyone has them, and they all kind of work the same and have the same services. Versus with gaming, like, you have Xbox gamers, you have PC gamers, you have Netflix or Nintendo gamers, you have mobile gamers, you have PlayStation. Like, you have all these different people that game for different reasons and in different locations and all these things like that, like, I don't know, I guess to me it seems unlikely that any company would ever be able to corner the market so hard on all of gaming to have that kind of negative influence. Maybe I'm wrong, but even like part of that is like, I mean, you're saying like Xbox or whatever and Netflix, like, you know, they're putting out slop. I mean, like, I know Netflix has the most subscribers, but it's also because they were the first one out the gate to this streaming thing at all.
Xbox
right?
is the first Game Pass out of the gate.
But what I'm saying is, like, they have the most subscribers now. How long will this model continue to be successful for them? If they continue to put out not anything good, they're going to lose interest from people. They're going to lose interest from the tastemakers and the people that in culture talk about this shit. Like, to me, it's just like,
yeah, I mean,
art finds a way. You know?
Well, your line of thinking is correct. I'm trying to avoid us getting to a place where we're asking. Well, I mean, even just now, just with the price thing, it's like you mentioned, I think in a comments, not on the pod or whatever, you're like, I may have to look about, like, do I buy this game or do I buy Game Pass? How long is it take me to play this game? Right. I mean, and I said that to be like, there's already conversations in terms of what, you know, I think I do want to get off this, but I'm saying, I think there are conversations of like, what's going to happen like the long term with content being put out, with prices rising up, with other companies. You know, PlayStation, their downfall is, it's funny because they had the bigger base to start it with, but their downfall was that they just tried to keep it exclusive, you know, and, you know, anyway. But I want to ask you real quick.
Yeah.
Last question. and we can let our listeners kind of weigh in. Again, I have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm not sure I'm going to be articulating them all well, but I got most of my brain out at least. Last thing I want to ask you is kind of this conversation about AI in
Mm,
games. For some reason, maybe it's reason because maybe I don't work in games and I work more on the film side, it doesn't bother me as much because I feel like games are all digital already, and movies are more made with tangible things, right?
mhm,
Obviously, there's been reports that Microsoft is using AI. They're saying they're doing it for more um, right now. Right now, they're saying like not bookkeeping things, but more
mm,
instructional kind of on the front end kind of things, not the artistic side. Of
mhm.
course, we're going to get to the artistic side, right? It's just going to
Well,
matter of time.
those recent layoffs Xbox did, the big rumor is they were replacing a lot of people with AI.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, like a lot of companies are. There's a company here in Oklahoma that just laid off a couple hundred or 1,000 people because they're like AI can do your job now. And so it's been kind of making news down here. But my
Yeah.
point is, um, I think obviously I want AI to be used as a tool, and also I don't want it to be used in a way that can take other people's work and do some algorithm and basically replicate it without replicating it, and that original artist doesn't get
Right.
paid for it. I don't like that, but I do think AI can expedite maybe say Grand Theft Auto 7. Let's say that,
Mm, mm.
right? Do you think I think we're fixing it to a point very quickly where some of these AAA games will happen faster because of
Mm.
AI.
Potentially, it's that thing of I don't know the technical side of gaming enough to have, I feel like, a very informed view on how it will practically, like, or literally affect it. I mean, I have heard anecdotally that the AI is pretty good at coding, like pretty
Yeah,
good at writing code.
yeah.
Um, and I think people are already using. I think it's just it's this thing of like when we say AI, what are we saying? Are we saying a MLM, a
I
language
think
model?
so. I think
So
right
so
now, yes, I think that's what we're
so
talking
what
about.
would that be? So the idea that they would put an entire language model inside of a game that then, I mean, like, because that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, like, that's the kind
I
of a, or like,
I
what do
look
you?
at it more as like the ethical version of this would be to make an AI from the ground up that's not using other people's work
Uh-huh.
without the permission, but training an AI with humans or people or other AI you make to build assets from like you know what I'm saying? Like you can color
I'm
palette
sure that's already happening. I
get
mean, I feel like that's
no I
probably already
yeah
happening
no but I mean
everywhere.
I've seen videos where like people have made like Unreal Engine whatever like worlds, and they're
Uh-huh.
like they look crazy,
Uh-huh.
and like you can control a character and it's all AI
Right.
built, and it was like from a prompt. So
Uh-huh.
I wonder if there's a version where you're like, hey, we own the Halo assets, we paid the guy who built the
Uh-huh.
assets, we put the assets into a thing, make us a model. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see stuff like
Yeah.
that happening where it's like
Yeah.
it expedites things so much quicker. I mean, like I would assume, again, I'm with you. I don't know the ins and outs of video game making, but I would assume a big part of the length of a game to cycle for particularly for these AAA games is the fidelity in terms of just the graphics, in terms of skin pores and how the skin stretches and all these kind of things of like I'm sure it's a huge part of it, right? I wonder if AI can kind of come in and be like, bam, and take out a lot of that
Yeah. I
that
mean, I
work.
think this is interesting where I don't know if you know, Jason Schreier, right?
Yeah.
Who's,
Yeah.
obviously a probably the most respected journalist in gaming. He very much is. He's written several books, and he wrote one about most recently. I think the one was about Blizzard and just like their journey from tiny little studio in the '90s to making WoW, to make, you know what I mean, just to becoming what they were, and then the fall from grace. Um, and when you get the inside scoop about why games take so long, it doesn't often seem it's because of technical problems. It often seems it's because yeah, it was an 8-year development cycle, but they didn't know what the game was for the first 4 years. They couldn't figure
Sure.
out the fun. They couldn't get the system to work. They couldn't, like, it's not these like, oh, the code wasn't right. It's that the philosophy was not working as a game, or someone was in charge that didn't know what the fuck they were doing, but they were someone's cousin. And so, you know what I mean? Like it so often it seems like it's these managerial, and it's the breakdown of people, not of the technology, that makes games take a long time. Now, so there are examples like Cyberpunk.
Well, it sounds like from that example, the first 4 years were necessary. Maybe the last 4 years weren't, with AI.
Sure, maybe, but like, yeah, maybe so. But again, you hear so many games that like all the tech, we've got all these assets, but the game just, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the hard part of making games isn't making them look good. That's not the hard part.
I see a version
the hard
of
part of making games is making games that people like and are fun.
Let's just say what was the system in the Lord of the Rings games that was like
the Nemesis system.
I could see a version where there's like they write a check, hey, can I have the Nemesis system and train my AI on that, and then have AI write a game based on that with these assets. You know what I'm saying? Like I could see a version of something like that in the future where companies are buying.
When you're just copying a previous system and just putting a new face on it and saying, I bought the rights to make a new Lord of the Rings game with this, but without Lord of the Rings, and it's the Nemesis. Because I mean, to me,
that's
we're
what
still,
I'm saying.
we're still dealing with like,
I could see a version where you buy 3 different systems from 3 different companies. You buy some IP, and then you're like, this is your tool. This is your tools in your toolbox now, and you can legally. I'm saying like I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I think
you're right, but I think that's how an executive thinks. That's not how most creatives think that make the best games. The executive thinks, yes, I can buy this thing that worked, and here's the data. I bought this thing that worked.
But again, this is my fear. And if I just do this plus this plus this. But again, if I can think it, then surely when they're in that world, there's people thinking they can do that same thing.
But it's not working. I mean, those aren't the games that are making games.
I think we'll see though. I don't know.
I mean, I guess to me, I'll back the artist. I think the people that have a vision and have something to say and have a very passionate idea of what those games will always rise to the top.
I love that, and I think it's very romantic. But I also wonder if there are the 4-year-olds and the 6-year-olds of the world who have access to this thing it was cheaply made because of whatever, of a different technology. It's cheaper to buy. They can get access to it. And I wonder if they won't be as romantic about it as we are. I don't have a stake.
You can't say.
I'm asking
because
questions.
Kids don't know what good things are as kids. They won't know it as adults. That's not how kids work. Kids' brains are we don't know shit. We don't know what's good and bad. We don't know what we like. You know what I mean? Like the amount of slop that's been on TV for kids for years, and those kids still grow up to want to watch HBO shows. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that to me is not I don't see the clear line there. I just think, I think that's often like, I think that gets mixed in with the whole rhetoric that every generation gets. That every generation says, "Oh, well, we're the last good one. Look at these kids; they'll never be okay because they don't have this and we have that."
I'm not saying that. I think the average. I'm not saying that. I think the average person is not as romantic about this kind of stuff as we might be, because we are. I would classify us as artists.
Sure.
I would classify us as people who are in the creative space. And it's more important to us, even just on a ideological level.
Sure.
People like Kimberly, she doesn't give a fuck.
Well,
and I feel like there's more of her than there are me, unfortunately.
We're already there in so many ways, and again, it's like this. It's not like this is anything new to entertainment, right? Let's think about writing. Before the printing press, writers were like you had, you know what I mean? And then the printing press happened, and it's like anyone can be a writer. The typewriter happened, anyone can write. You know what I mean? And like you got deluges of people that thought they knew how to write just because they had a typewriter, and it's like, hey, if I did this,
it's a little different.
What I'm saying is
that's the mechanism to write versus, I mean, that's hugely different compared to like a large language model being trained on writers versus the ability to write, the ability to have better access to write. You know what I'm saying? Those are different things,
But I get it. I get your thinking. Every time, at least so far, that we have seen technology democratize art, make art more available to more people, the cream still rises to the top, in my opinion. Yeah, there are people that read slop novels, but the tastemakers, the people that write New York Times novels about this, the people that a lot of people look to say, hey, what should I read next? Those people are still reading the best that you can get. And to me, it's like, why would that system ever go away? I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think it'll go away. I think it will be like art house. I think it will become. I can't remember when to say this. I think it will become the AI slop, as you say, will become like the MCU of movies. You know what I'm saying? Where we're getting those, and the average person doesn't care as long as they're somewhat entertained. And then
yeah,
the people like us, who I'm a weird one to say because I obviously am supporting the MCU, but we're probably more prone to be like, I would rather have a new Oppenheimer this year than a new Spider-Man 5. That's my personal opinion at the moment, honestly. So
sure. But even your example of the MCU, as they got more sloppy, they've made less money. People stopped going to the movies. People stopped wanting to watch them. So I mean, like, even to your example, you're right. That happened to the MCU, and they lost money and viewership, and now it's more cool to not like the MCU than it was to like it.
Yeah,
so yes, the slop ruined their momentum and their position in the social like zeitgeist. That's what I think will happen to anyone that decides to start putting content over creation. It seems to be the trend. I can't think of an example where we started getting slop and it got more popular.
But I think that I think we might differ here. I keep kind of pushing to this direction is that I think AI is a different beast than we've ever had to have to compare to anything before.
But that's assuming that it can make something that like AI's been doing its little like jig for a couple years now. It's been the new thing for a couple years now. It's widely available. And yes, there's plenty of AI slop everywhere, but it's not like that's all you can get now.
I know, but we're not. But it's a really poor way of. I mean, we're still at the baby has just been born.
I guess to me, it's like
it's not even a toddler
fear of
yet.
What AI can do, and it's like extrapolate. But
it's not a fear; it's more of a curiosity. And
but it still can't create. I mean, there are going to be people that use AI creatively, artists that say, "Hey, they make a beautiful art with it." But it always has to have an artist. It always has to have someone to guide it. I think. I don't think AI is ever going to get to the point where it can replicate human art.
But AI is human art. We don't even know as humans what really consciousness is.
Sure.
Not really. We don't know if there's an AI right now that's conscious. There's AIs that have been. We've told them we're going to delete them, and they have tried to clone themselves secretly in a different area to not be deleted.
Sure.
That's fascinating.
It is.
But again, I'm not even sure the baby's been born yet. We still may be like the pregnancy stage.
I'm not convinced the baby can ever be born. I'm not convinced we have the capacity as humans to create real artificial consciousness. I think we have the capacity to make something that looks exactly like it. But I don't know if we have the capacity to make.
Well, again, we've gotten to really
philosophical. Sure.
But I mean, like if we can't tell if we're or why we're conscious, how can we tell if something else is conscious? You know what I'm saying? Like
we can't tell. I mean, there's a lot of psychology that delves into like human consciousness and like the science behind it and why we think the way we do and where those things come from, how those developed over time with survival. And like to me, it's like, yeah, we don't know everything about the brain, but like. When we look at AI, we can see very clearly we are not replicating a brain or anything like it. We don't even fully understand the thing we think we're trying to replicate. You know what I mean? Like the brain is the most misunderstood part. So how literally
that's literally my point was that we don't even know how it works and we don't know if it's working on the other end.
So how could we replicate it if we don't even know how it works? How could we ever get close?
I don't know.
That to me is the giant like if that no one seems to address in the AI. It's like we're all just assuming that we're just going to figure out how to create consciousness when we really can't even define our own. How like what is it going to be an accident? Like we're going to accidentally stumble onto consciousness?
There's an argument that we're an accident. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean
sure.
I mean how did we get created? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a valid point here of like. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think you're wrong either. But I'm just saying that
I have yet to see anything from an
it feels like you're arguing just to argue versus being open-minded to the possibility that it could happen.
It could happen.
Well, then we're at
But
the same
like,
place, and there's nothing else to talk about. Then that's my argument. It could happen, right?
it could happen. I have not seen any evidence to indicate it will. That'll be what I say. I've not seen anything
Yeah,
that tells me that's a
it's
likely thing to happen.
because it's not that old yet. That's my point. If we were like 60 years in, I was like, oh yeah, it's not really. I'm like, we're not that far in, and like I think it's made some leaps and bounds just already. And
I mean, yeah, but at that point, are we not talking about the whole holodeck conundrum of like, if we can make a holodeck that exactly replicates our reality, humanity is done for? Like that level of technology, and a lot of scientists say that like
I don't know for real right now. I don't know. I don't know if you're a simulation.
Okay, sure.
I have no
what I'm
idea.
saying is like what a lot of philosophers said. If we ever have the ability to one-to-one replicate reality in a false way, like plugging up something to your brains,
Yeah.
humanity is doomed at that. Like there will be no point. Like we will decline very quickly. But they have also said there's so many more likely things that will end us as a species before we ever get to that level of technology. It's probably not likely. And that's kind of how I feel.
I don't understand your argument of like what you're trying to prove or point out.
I'm saying I think if were ever to advance to the point to get to the AI you're talking about, I think that's negating. I just don't know if our species will survive long enough to get. It seems more likely that we will die out as a species than we will reach that level of technology. Personally,
Maybe I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know. So it's very possible.
To me, I think that's where like the fear. I do think there is a lot of fear mongering around AI in creative spaces. There's a lot of like,
you keep saying I know, but you keep implying that I am though.
You're not.
There's been multiple times you're like, I don't understand this fear mongering. I'm like, I'm not saying that. So clearly,
I'm saying there is a lot of that in a lot of circles. Our careers are over. This will never be the same. Like just a lot of despair, and it makes sense. I'm not trying to like dog on people for having a hard time. I just think AI is just a tool. You know what I mean? AI is Photoshop. When Photoshop came out, photographers were saying, "Oh my God, photography's over. Anyone can make a photo. You don't need a good lighting. You don't need a good lens. You know what I mean? Like it's just a tool. It'll become a tool for other people."
That's what I said. That's what I said in the beginning.
It'll evolve
that it could be a tool in the toolbox for video gamers.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely true. I'm actually more interested in like, can we find a way to build an AI into the game? Like, I want a role-playing game that reacts to very specific things I do. Not, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of AI I'm interested in. Can we do that in a artistically ethical way? In a way where, you know, maybe can an actor say, "Hey, listen, you're going to pay me a bunch of money and I will give you the rights to let this AI replicate my voice so it can basically keep writing as the game goes." You know what I mean? Like that to me is like the level of depth and immersion that those kind of games could offer to like RPG gamers. I'm like, that's exciting, right?
Now think about that. And like the best version, which is a holodeck, but let's say one step below holodeck, the best VR you can imagine. Imagine you're in a VR setup with this AI world that's building things as you're interacting with it, and you can't see the gears turning as it's building, right? That sounds crazy and cool.
Yeah,
and fun.
No, but to me, it's like unless it is the holodeck, unless I can move around freely, and if I touch it, it does something. That's to me is still the barrier of the VR. You know what I mean? It's like like this.
Sure.
You know that to me is still the biggest barrier of VR is movement. Is if you play a game where you're supposed to be moving in a first person perspective, it doesn't feel good. Playing games from like playing a God view game, so cool in VR. You know what I mean? Like playing a strategy game that's like isometric where you're supposed to have this God view of everything and you can walk around. Amazing. But I think until we get a holodeck where we can walk around and then I punch something with my fist, it feels like it and it reacts like it. You know, like that's, again, it's like I would love to play that, but also it might be the death of our species. You know what I mean?
If we can make it that far, then of course we will play it. I mean, like it will. I mean,
there is an interesting idea just about doing like kind of a movie idea about exploring what would the fall of society look like once, like think about what would holodeck torture look like
to write it.
What would holodeck torture look like? If a holodeck technology, like how would it be used in all these little spaces? Like how would it be used in war? How would it be like? There is something interesting there about
Yeah,
like
it's a
a
good Black
movie
Mirror
about
episode.
about humanity reaching a level of technology that it starts to destroy them.
I'm not convinced we already have.
It's called
I don't know
Terminator.
if
I'm kidding.
I don't know if I'm real. I don't know.
I think you are.
Well, I appreciate it. At least someone thinks so. Um, yeah. So back to gaming. I wanted to ask you like five real quick on the top of my brain, yes or no
Shoot 'em.
questions from you, and then we'll wrap it up. Do you think Game Pass will be on, yes or no question? Do you think Game Pass will be on PS5 in the next 5 years?
No.
Do you think you will continue to have a Game Pass subscription if it's $30 a month? And or do you think they will lower the price very soon?
They will not lower the price. I'm going to have it at least a couple more months, but we'll see. I mean, it is the more it goes up, the more I question its value. That they were really smart. They upped the value. They upped the price right next to a really good game. Outer Worlds is out. Outer Worlds 2, and it's great. It's much better than the first one. It is a kick-ass Obsidian RPG, and it is scratching an itch that I don't. That honestly, no other studio is able to scratch for me right now. And so it makes it feel worth it when I'm playing that. You know what I mean? And even, I mean, I'll be honest, this year I played that. I played.
Yes or no?
Okay, sorry. What was
Are you going to cancel your Game Pass subscription?
maybe.
Okay. That's not a yes or no, but I'll take it.
Good.
Do you think the next Xbox, this premium Xbox, is the last console for Xbox?
No. As long as we're talking about a piece of hardware with an Xbox logo on it, no.
Okay. Would you count a handheld as a console then? If that was the only thing left?
Maybe.
I could see that being the final
Depends on
version.
how good of a handheld it is. Yeah.
I mean, I hear the ROG Ally X is like the best, is like for what it is.
But
you know?
I think if they could basically be at like a Switch where I can still plug it into a TV and get the full TV big screen console experience, then yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't. It seems like that's the best route to go here.
Yeah, hybrid, yeah.
Before we go, we'd like to highlight one last thing that may or may not be TV movie related. Daniel?
Mine is going to be The Outer Worlds 2. It is out now. You can play it if you have Game Pass. It's very good. Like I said, it's much better than the first one. If you played the first one, I liked it. Had some interesting things, some funny stuff, but it was honestly a little too silly to even take the game or the narrative seriously. The game didn't take itself enough seriously, so it was hard to take the game seriously. And so just the investment level just wasn't there for the characters of the story. Very different here. A much more serious tone. Now, plenty of commentary. You know, this is a capitalist dystopian world where a company, like you basically, the only way to live is to sign up for a life contract of an employment with a company. You're guaranteed food and shelter for your life, but you also can never quit. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like the dystopian version of what could go wrong if we don't figure some stuff out today. And that's still there, and there's a lot of humor. There's some really funny dialogue, and just the systems are better. The RPG systems are better. The choice and consequence is better. It looks really good. I mean, like, I don't think about Obsidian as being like technically, you know, technical wonders of games, but it looks really good. The gunplay is really fun. It feels good to shoot. Yeah, Outer Worlds 2. If you like Fallout New Vegas, if you like those types of sandboxy, not complete sandbox, but sandboxy places with choices and consequences and characters and people you can kill. I mean, this is a game where you can literally kill everyone if you want. You can go murder Hobo, and the game will respect that and allow you to finish it. You know what I mean? So it's a really fun. I highly recommend it. Outer Worlds 2. Yeah. What's yours?
I just thought of it, so it's not very super fleshed out, but I've been doing a lot of research on the Nikon ZR. Just like I've watched probably 6 hours of reviews total and just went through every possible scenario of why I want one, really.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things too where it's like there are better cameras and like better economic even through like post and workflow, but I'm a sucker for the brand, and I think I'm trying to convince myself why I need this camera.
What's the brand? What about Nikon?
Well, it's really just because Nikon bought Red. You know, that's I mean, so like
Oh,
this
okay.
this is the first Nikon Red collaboration,
Oh, this okay. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
and so it does 6K, 60 frames per second on the Red log, and it does it'll do 4K, 120, all these kind of things. But it also does like Apple ProRes. It also does H.265, H.264. So it has a lot of different kind of cool codecs to work with. What's cool about it is the body's only $2,200.
Yeah.
And it's really light. It's lighter than my A7 III. You remember you shot with that on the wedding. It's lighter than that. And it has the color science of a Red.
Yeah.
The downside, this is the downside, is how big the file sizes are. And it's not because Red has not always been big, but your brain kind of is like, oh yeah, it's smaller camera. For some reason, you just kind of think, oh yeah, this will be, this will be fine. It's really not. It's like 200 megabytes a second if you're doing 6K.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's 200 megabytes a second. And so it's like basically a terabyte or something like that. Maybe it's in 20 minutes, which is kind of where it was at. It's kind of where Red's always been at.
Right.
But if you look at something like an FX3 or an FX6, which FX6 has comparable image to a Red, or to like to like the ZR, the body's like $6 or $7 grand, I think, for a new FX6, but the body for that's $220. But you don't have to buy six $600 2 terabyte cards. You know what I'm saying? And then also where you're going to store it. So this is the game we play as filmmakers. So, but I kind of keep looking at it as like, I really want a cinema look for my wedding stuff. Like I want to make it even more cinematic looking. Like I'd like to get that plus like an anamorphic lens and really kind of go deep into that kind of look.
Yeah.
And there's also some short stuff I like to shoot, like shorts, I think it'd just be fun. And I think $2,200 is not a bad entry point for that look,
Yeah.
And so
How's the autofocus?
apparently it's really good. Apparently it's very good. It's comparable to all the
Do a
Nikon.
Gerald
the newer-
Undone review.
I watched it
the
twice,
king.
actually. I watched
the
it
king,
twice.
He
And
likes it.
I watched he liked it. There was issues, particularly where the battery is in relation to like where the micro SD is and like the SD card. Also other things like, you can't, I mean, like the file size thing is a big one here,
Yeah. I
And
mean,
so
CFast is such an expensive card.
yeah, it's a Express B. So that's what it is,
Yeah.
So anyway, it's $600 for a 2 terabyte.
And it doesn't do SSD recording at all.
No,
External.
no.
To me, that's still like,
The monitor on it
gotta have
though.
one that has SSD. It's just too easy. Have a terabyte of footage, like that's just like, you can buy a 4 terabyte SSD. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
to me, that is such a huge.
Well, you can buy a 4 terabyte Express S. It's $1,200.
Exactly. I can buy a 4 terabyte for like $100.
Yeah.
SSD.
Yeah. Oh,
And then
know.
I can spend the other 1,000 on a better lens.
Yep.
You know
Oh, I
what I
know.
mean? Like-
That's this is the trade off, So, so anyway, it is what it is, and
Yeah.
so I think it might be. And I did the math. I was kind of like, I would be right at almost for the amount I shoot on average for a wedding, I'd be about at a terabyte or 1,100 gigabytes.
Per wedding.
Per wedding, and so.
Right up against and you don't want to be.
Well, I could buy 2 terabyte.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then that would cover me for every wedding. And then even a 2 terabyte hard drive is only like $100. You know what I'm saying? It's like it'd be baked into the cost of the wedding. This has become a wedding conversation now. But anyway, I'm just telling you, like, this is what I've been thinking about lately.
Yeah.
And I just like the idea of it, just kind of getting a different look. I was looking at some of my weddings yesterday, and I was like, this looks pretty good considering what it is. Like, it looks not that bad. But there's other places where I'm like, oh, it could be so much better here in this area, this area. And I don't want to spend, $5 or $6 for this comparable look. I could spend 3.5 and then also get to play for like short films. And then anyway.
Yeah.
Also,
no, that's
the
awesome.
weight's nice. The weight is very nice, by the way.
I definitely love that, especially for gimbal.
And its screen, its screen that it has, everyone on the board is like, this is the new gold standard for screens.
Yeah.
So
Is it good with low light? Like kind of like Sony is? I mean, no, Sony's the king usually, but that is something for weddings I'd be really concerned with for sure.
yeah, I'd say it's okay. You know, it's not amazing. It's ISO's 800 6400. That's its two base ISOs.
6,400?
6400 and 800. Yeah.
That's for 6,400 seems
It's pretty
like it would
crazy.
be good at low light.
Yeah. I mean it looks pretty clean. There's not much grain at 6400.
Oh yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, I think no, that is good. Yeah.
It goes to something crazy like 120 for something, 120,000 ISO, or which is like, it's obviously great.
yeah.
It's mayor of Graintown then, but
Right.
anyway, I've been looking at it heavily, and I've been deciding on what I want to do because I think it. Again, I just like I like the name. I'm a
Yeah.
bitch brand boy. So anyway, that's where my head's at. That's my before we go.
Awesome.
How can our listeners write into us, Daniel?
Listeners, you can write into BIT. Wait, sorry.
Can you?
I'm just went into Can we do that? I don't think we.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, listeners, you can comment on our Facebook post that we make every week, or our YouTube video in the YouTube comments, or on our Instagram post that we're posting little clips of every week. And you can let us know what you think of the episode. Let us know what you think which camera Donovan should buy. And yeah, let us know what you think of the console wars, the future of gaming, and all that kind of stuff. And be sure to subscribe while you're there. Thanks.
That'd be super helpful. Yeah, let us know in the comments, like, what do you think about AI, Game Pass, what the next console is. I'm curious. I'm very curious as to what you guys think.
Yeah.
My name is Donovan Thompson,
I'm Daniel Wingfield.
and we'll see you at your next session.
Real Therapy is brought to you by 241 Studios and viewers like you. Thanks for stopping by. Remember to tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. for a new session with Daniel and Donovan. And remember,
They're gonna talk about how it makes them feel. They're gonna watch all the movie reels, 'cause it's Dan and Don in